There we go. Stretch. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binary folks of all ages, clearly it is Sunday night and it is 9 o'clock here in Vancouver, and that means that I must be on stream. Hello, Zan. How goes it? I've just finished watching a polish and then shower and then knit along in bed. Excellent, excellent. You are living the motherfucking dream. I saw all of your nail polish organisation on the Discords, and I must say that your dedication to it is admirable. I should probably do something with my nails. Clearly, I don't have the patience for it. Hi, farmer. How goes it? Today, kids, what we are going to be doing is finishing this piece here for the cardigan that I'm currently wearing. I've decided that I want to put a hood on it, basically. I think it's less interesting just being like a plain neckline, and I just, I'm just not about like just doing some kind of random, I don't think anything else is really going to fit. I'm going to do something that looks like it's an actual Jedi robe, And admittedly, it is still too short. However, we're gonna handle that. That is a problem to be solved, and I'm going to solve it by making it incredibly long with any kind of yarn that I've got left. I think I have whatever is left of this ball, and then another 2 skeins of similar size. I think they're whole. I gotta go and actually review. How much do I have? Just in general. And then I'm just gonna make like another 2 enormous granny squares of like, I don't know how big we're gonna need them to be. I'm just gonna make whatever I've got and then just like essentially continue until I run out of this godforsaken yarn. It'll be fine. Over 300 unique polishes. That is excessive, and I admire your dedication. It is truly something to behold. My son took my granddaughter for her first mani-pedi. She's 3.5. I mean, I don't think there's an age that's, I don't think it's too early to kind of impress upon the young'uns that they need to take care of their nails. Because, in fairness, you should see my toenails right now. I'm not going to show them to you because, well, in fairness, I can't get my feet up on the desk here, and I'm not quite that dexterous. But like, I just every time I just look at them, I'm just like, you gotta do something about that. Even though I generally do nothing to my feet because I ain't got the patience or the time, and decades of being a computer programmer and not really able to have very long nails, nor being able to do anything really useful with my nails, kind of had an effect on me. Which is whatever it is, what it is. Crochet, of course, means that you can have nails of just about any size you like and you can still roll with it, and I definitely appreciate that. Anyway, I hope everybody's week has been going better than mine. I threw my back out again, which is probably always going to be a bloody bugbear in my life, and I think I'm maybe just going to have to accept that I'm never going to go sword fighting again. That it's just like swinging a sword around the place seems like all fun and hijinks until you realise that it'll do an absolute number on your shoulders, and if you overdo it, you will actually start tearing rather important things that you need to raise your arms. Yeah, it's a thing. It's like, your days of doing excessive amounts of martial arts are maybe over. At the very least, you've come out of it with enough knowledge to throw a pretty good punch, which is about all you can ask for these days, especially seeing as I am now an old, and I should probably not be engaging in fisticuffs. I don't think that's good for my body at this point. Anyway, other than that, we haven't been doing too badly. My car got towed. And that, I'm afraid, was my own fault, and it cost me 144 lovely Canadian dollaroos to this grand city of Vancouver, because I parked in a lane that I should not have been parking on. And they have this thing where during rush hour you're not allowed to park in certain lanes, and Muggins here forgot, because I forgot that it wasn't the weekend. And that resulted in my car getting towed. So the city of Vancouver basically took my car and kept it for all of, about an hour and a half, and it cost me $144, which is, when you don't have a job, that kind of money is not, it's just not welcome, It gets you down a little bit. But I generally have to take the view that there ain't a whole lot you can do about it, so you might as well just roll with it, and just, maybe you'll make $144 back in some other way, Maybe by some miracle, someone will someone will see that picture you put on Instagram of you crocheting with your feet and decide that like they would like to have more of those feet pictures. Look, I don't know. I know there are a lot of weird people out there. Real talk. I was looking on Craigslist earlier because that's just how I roll. And I was looking in their community services, and I swear to all the gods, there was an ad up for some guy who wanted to buy smelly socks. And I wish I was kidding about this, but you know what? I can't say that I'm actually surprised, because the entire internet is full of the weirdest stuff that you can imagine, and frequently stuff you can't even imagine. But if you can imagine it, it probably already exists. Crowbar Scout, how is it going? Hope you had a good week. I hope you had a better week than I had, because between blowing my back out, getting my car towed, and having a panic attack, you know, it wasn't really all fun and games. But I did get quite a bit of crochet done, so you know, we're not doing too bad, all things considered. So, But anyway, back to Craigslist. I'm not actually joking. There was a guy offering to buy. I think he specified that he would buy the smelly socks of women of all ages and hot guys under 45. And I remember reading that ad and thinking, that is oddly specific, sir, but I will at least give you credit for, being welcoming of all kinds. Because you could just as very easily specify that you'll only buy the smelly socks of hot women under the age of 30, or whatever. It's like, it happens. Panic attack is in the wings. Oh, honey. I wish I could tell you the things to make it not happen. But I have no idea what triggers your panic attack, so that's probably not going to help in any way, shape, or form. So I will say, if you wanna just talk a little bit about it, if that's gonna help, that's fine. Otherwise, you may listen to me bullshit about the random stuff that I saw on Craigslist this week, because I got a little bit too curious about what was actually in the community section. And especially the thing about misconnections, which I thought hadn't been a thing since the age of actual physical newspapers, but apparently no, it still survives. It survives on Craigslist, and some of them are just immensely odd. And they're just like a guy who talked about how he saw another guy checking him out on the SkyTrain, the transit system in Vancouver. And he was like, hey, you are this guy and you checked me out, and I'm not even going to give a physical description of you, so you could literally be anyone. Anyway, reply to me. And, I mean, on one hand, I want to give him credit for just trying to at least make a connection, taking a shot in the dark and seeing if someone can just, maybe take a chance that in the million to one chance that the right person's going to read it, and will maybe thinking about, maybe that was me, and maybe reach out. But, he's not helping his case by not doing something as obvious as including a physical description. Literally just like some guy who's checking him out on the SkyTrain. And, dude, that could be literally anybody. This is Vancouver. We got plenty of gay men around. Let's be clear. I just, I wonder about people sometimes in Vancouver. It's like, here you go. This is how we're going to get a connection. This is how we're going to reach out and make friends. We're going to use the back pages of Craigslist, and it's going to read really weirdly. Just got to grind out a paper for school. That sounds really sucky. I just want to say, in fairness, that sounds really, really sucky, because I remember when I was in university, back in the oldie mists of time, I remember being fucking sucky and trying to write a paper about 3 to 5 pages of some absolute bollocks about to do with, plate tectonics, because I did a degree in geology. The thing is that might be forgiven of thinking that, that sounds like an interesting subject. No, it's not. Everybody's written about it. It's not interesting. It's just, it isn't. Geology is probably one of the more boring subjects out there. And that was back in the day before they even let you write stuff on computer. I am that old, and I come from rural Ireland. That's just how we rolled back then. Yeah, I know I look like I'm not that old. I am in fact that old. I come from the era before they used computers to create maps. And fun fact, I can prove this because I was the first final year geology student in my university to produce their map entirely on computer using modern GIS software. everyone else drew that shit by hand. And for my efforts of being, being all up and, working with the times and all that kind of crap, they docked me marks because they wanted a hand-drawn map. And, I gotta say, it was 20 years ago and I'm still kind of salty about it. It just is what it is. I think we're age peers. Probably. I think you sound like I think you seem like you're probably around the same age as me. You're also an old. That or you're old in spirit. Both is good. Both is rocking. Well, so anyway, I don't know how everyone else's week has been, but oh man, like there's been a sucky week in many ways because the back knob, my basically my left arm just kind of stops working. It's not great. It's a whole thing because all I can really do is when I get up at 5 a.m. with pain in my shoulder and my arm basically saying, fuck this, I'm not going to lift anything for you, and I'm barely going to function at all in the hand, then, it's basically a time when, you suck down as much coffee as you can get into you and have shit ton of strong painkillers and kind of just hope for the best. And, it was okay. It could have been worse. Could have been an extended, just disabling of my left side, but it wasn't. It was all right. I'm feeling kind of back to normal now, which is good. 40 on my third or fourth try attempt. Yes, we are in fact age peers. I recently turned 41. I am definitely an old at this point. I grew up in the 80s and early 90s in rural Ireland, back in the fucking ass end of nowhere, surrounded by cows and sheep and fields. It was fun. Anyway, my week, alright, because I had, there was there's a certain amount of suckiness about it, but I had all these amazing ideas for crochet, and I was just basically sitting there with my mind buzzing away, going okay, we may not have the programming stuff anymore, but what we do have? We have all the crochet. Hey, Shay, I hope your stream was good. Look, honey, I know that the job is bumming you out, and jobs are they're going to suck regardless. Just try not to let it get you down too much. Just, go in for your hours. Just don't let it affect you. It's all utter bullshit. Someday, by the grace of all the gods, they'll finally bring in universal basic income and we can be free of this survival treadmill bullshit. And we will all be able to create and bake bread and write stories and generally do all the things that are actually worthwhile in life instead of having to work some fucking stupid job just so that we can afford rent. Anyway, my arm, what happened to my arm? Okay, so I don't know if I've ever actually mentioned this, but I used to do medieval sword fighting, which is the reason why I have a big-ass longsword. And I know a certain amount about how to use various medieval weaponry, up to and including longsword, greatsword, pair of swords, rapier, arming sword and shield, pikes, quarterstaff. I love quarterstaff, for the record. Absolutely love quarterstaff. Staff spinning is it's a massive amount of fun, regardless of the number of times you manage to hit yourself in the back of the head. It really is. And it is an amazingly practical art of, weapon art when you actually think about it, because you may need special skills in order to create a decent longsword, but realistically, if you want to just get a decent quarterstaff, all you need is a long pole. A long pole about the same height as you and some training. And with that, you will be able to do a shit ton of damage. You gotta respect that. But I mean, yeah, I know how to do all kinds of fighting. I've done wrestling. I've done a certain amount of jiu-jitsu, boxing. Did a lot of boxing. Certain amount of practical self-defense, street fighting, taekwondo. I mean, I did a lot of stuff. I did archery, whip fighting, and knife fighting as well, just for shits and giggles. And I taught myself how to do all kinds of stuff. It was, it was great. It was fun. But anyway, long story short, I managed to fuck my shoulder up doing martial arts. And last year, I fell, came down hard on my left arm, and then really fucked it up. And at that point, I had to stop working. And then just after I stopped working, I blew my back out a second time. And then had a nervous breakdown. And kind of, between all of that, I just kind of don't have a job anymore. Which is, yeah. I don't know what happened to my stream. It literally just, yeah, I know, I saw it. You just kind of fell off the, I was thinking, oh shit, something's gone wrong. I didn't want to, I was like, okay, tech issues, that's, it's a thing, whatever, it's going to happen. Anyway, long story short, I fucked myself up doing martial arts because I was probably a bit too old for it. Having said all that, I still highly recommend anyone to actually try medieval swordplay. It is an absolute shit ton of fun. It gives you a real appreciation for essentially just how useful a sword is as a practical weapon. And you kind of figure out the reasons why that, the singular shape of like big long steel thing with a crossguard kind of became as popular as it did, and kind of like it basically for hundreds and hundreds of years it was the weapon of choice, and it was for a lot of reasons, and I do appreciate the academic part of it, which is kind of why I still like have it now. And my longsword, I have to say, I still have it. I would not be able to use it indoors because it is unfortunately impractical as an indoor fighting weapon. For that, I have my rock hammer instead, which is a bit more like an actual war hammer. It's far more useful in close quarters. My longsword is really just for outdoor fighting. But anyway, that's martial arts. It's just the kind of thing that happens, And every once in a while, I'll push myself a little bit too hard, and my shoulder will get tweaky again. And essentially, what happens is that all the muscles in my shoulder blade and my neck and then down my arm just kind of get a little bit fucked up, and they end up not really functioning very well. And it does extend into my hand and causes my hand to be kind of not functional either, which it's like I just kind of accepted it as a part of getting older and a part of the price of the experiences that I had while essentially learning how to kill people real good. But yeah, I'll just kind of live with it at this point. For everyday use, I am usually at 90%. I'm pretty good. I can wander around the place. I can do all kinds of normal activities. I can lift a coffee cup. It's all that kind of thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just you live with a chronic injury, and it just kind of it is what it is. If you keep your eyes peeled with the BC Hydro website, I could basically get you a job at the call centre, which is super chill, and there's a shitload of upward mobility within the org as a whole. If you apply for something outside the call centre, Sand, that is really, really generous of you. Thank you so much. The thing is that I actually did work in a call centre way, way back. It's been, God, it was a hell of a thing. I used to work for Apple, all right? I have worked a lot of different hats, fucking trust me. You would not believe half the shit in my resume, I'll tell you. Illustrationer, I like your username. I hope you do the arts. You sound like someone who does the arts. And I'm all about the arts at this point. The benefits are great, and they're 100% willing to accommodate medical conditions if you do your job well. That's I gotta say, that is incredibly generous. Thank you so much. I've had some people who said as well, if you're looking for a job, it's cool, we'll help you out. But the thing is that I'm still not great, and the number of panic attacks I have constantly at this, I'm getting better, but I'm still just not really there yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to be ready to work for at least a couple of months. And I'm not worried about it because I have savings. Being a senior dev has made a big difference to how well I can survive. So, I do dabble in the arts of crochet too. Excellent. Well done. Good job yourself. That is an excellent thing to do. Crochet is one of the best arts. And I think fibre arts don't get as much credence as a lot of arts do because it's a fibre art mostly done by women. And I think there is massive unplumbed depths of what is possible to create artwork-wise with crochet. And I'm very excited to see what people come up with in recent years, in the next few years anyway, now that crochet is really starting to take off. For as long as you're in BC. I'm going to be in BC the rest of my life, most likely. Thank you so much. So I'll bear it in mind, trust me. I wouldn't mind getting back into working in a call centre because I did do it at one stage. It's just a case of am I physically capable and mentally capable of working again? I'll see how I get on, What am I working on? I am working on a hood for this cardigan that you see me wearing here. It's kind of the last part of this enormous granny square cardigan. I need to get onto something else at this point because I'm getting kind of bored of the stitch here. I'm just, I felt this cardigan was a little too boring, so I kind of wanted to change crochet style. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Any preference? How many different styles do you know? Okay, so I was doing knife grip. I'm going to change to pen grip. Now we get like how many do I actually know in general? That's going to be the thing, because I was trying to actually review how many different styles of crochet do I actually know, and it depends on whether I'm doing left or right-handed crochet. I think I can do, I want to say at least 10 if I count the different methods of actually holding tension as well, and accommodating for things like how much motion that I do in each wrist. Like, and this is something that definitely comes up, especially when my left hand starts to get a bit buggery. You know, it's like I definitely have to change it up so that I restrict motion in this wrist and in these fingers. And that just becomes like something like this, where the actual yarn here almost does not move. And I keep my hand down so that all of the motion is now in my right hand and my left is spared as much as possible. Because obviously, if my left isn't working, yeah, that's going to be interesting. No, but I'm okay. I can just about work like right now. I can do my usual flick in the finger without too much of an issue. I still need crochet, so only a single and double crochet stitch, but I mainly use a single crochet. Yeah, you know, I'm telling you, like if you know how to do a chain and you know how to do a slip stitch and you know how to do singles, you were essentially set that you could crochet for years, and that is the only thing you'll ever need to know. That will probably get you amigurumi, you know, of any kind if you wanted to do it. Nice and simple, you know. Crochet doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be big and grandiose. It doesn't have to be like all these different stitches and complex patterns and everything. Especially if you like, granny squares are basically nothing. They're all just like double crochets stacked in clusters of 3. They're probably one of the most basic things you can do. But a lot of the times crochet is just stitch after stitch with whatever yarn you choose. Hopefully something that you like to work with, you know. And it doesn't have to be anything great, just has to be. Yeah, and if you know it from that song from Encanto, that was absolutely where I got that from, by the way. I loved working in the Carl Center. Gladly go back after my temp assignment and the department is over. It's probably the best job I ever had. Oh, that sounds really great. Like, I gotta say, when I worked in the call center in Apple, all right, now, bearing in mind, this was 20 years ago. But Apple have a call centre in my hometown back in Ireland, all right? And they loved hiring all the Irish people because a lot of us would have multiple languages and because the Americans loved our accent. It was hilarious. No kidding. But I can say that, like, while I was there, I was only working there for a few months, and Apple are not good to work for. Like, not in, maybe that particular department anyway, not good to work for. Ooh, hydrate. Oh. Oh, yeah. Anyone who cares, tonight's bubbly flavour is grapefruit. I think bubbly are redirecting all my emails about sponsorship to spam at this point. Which just proves they don't know a good thing when they see it. Ooh, excuse me. I got into crocheting last year. I got inspired by my grandma. Since I have so much yarn, I figured, why not try something new? Absolutely. I was taught by my grandmother and my godmother. Crochet runs in my family because I am Irish and we are nothing if not into the fibre arts. So I learned how to knit, how to crochet. I learned macrame, embroidery, sewing, all kinds. So, like, my mother taught me how to sew and how to use an actual, like, mechanical sewing machine. How to do things like follow a pattern, make curtains and all that kind of crap. Embroidery I kind of picked up on my own because I saw some examples of embroidered tablecloths and I thought that looked like fun, so I learned all of that. But knitting, we were taught in school because the Irish tradition of knitting is so very long and illustrious, and it's kind of like a thing that all the girls would have learned way back in the 80s in Ireland. It was just part of the curriculum. Go figure. But crochet was never really such a big thing, except that my godmother and my grandmother both did it, and they took it upon themselves to teach me, because my grandmother was not much of a knitter. She was far more about the crochet. She loved it, essentially. She never really got knitting in the same way, so she said, you know what, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you. And I can remember the first time that I did a granny square. It was a granny square blanket, and I did it with her instruction. And it was the same way that I do it today. Hold on, there we go. I think probably because the call center with Hydra doesn't involve sales under pressure. Oh, that is a thing. Oh my God, yes. Like even I was doing support or like, no, don't get me wrong. In Apple, I could never do sales. I am absolutely not cut out for that. I also know how to knit, but I love crocheting so much more. I know how to, yeah, I know how to knit. Like it's a very kind of specific set of skills, you know. Sometimes you're going to feel like knitting, sometimes you're going to feel like crochet. I think overall, I think I prefer crochet. I think it's the thing that comes far more naturally to me. Ooh, add a chunk to the scrap blanket. Okay, let's see how we're going to go. I'm just going to finish this cluster, and then we are going to see where we're at with that. So just so you know, I have a whole bunch of stuff that you can redeem for funsies. Let's put this aside. And here we go. Oh, all right, there we go. Whew. Okay, so I got some more yarn for this. This is where we're currently at with it. This is the corner to corner scrap blanket. I currently have this yarn on it, but I have a whole bunch of options here. And Shay, you may pick whichever one you prefer, and I will bung it on here and do a bit. And we'll see how far we get before I get bored. I'm going to have to, so I can either continue with this one. I'm not doing a good job of this. Here we go. So I can either continue with this one, which is currently what's on the hook, or any of these. You can kind of just choose whichever color you kind of like. I got a few extra balls of like random variegated like cotton colors or whatever from the thrift store, just so I'd have like extra options to give you guys when I'm doing a chunk. So whichever you prefer. Illustration, you subscribed. Thank you so much. Hey, subscriber. I still don't really know how the subscription thing works, except that sometimes there's money involved, and Twitch will give you money after like $100 of payouts or something. I don't know. You know what? It's great. It's fantastic. I'll add an extra chunk to this if you want. You can just, you know, tell me what color you want me to add. I might as well. It's like, it takes no time at all to do these, in fairness. And I do like corner to corner. This is like one of my favorite ways to do crochet. I really like it. I do it a particular way, which always means that it ends up a little bit wonky until I block it. I like the one all the way to the left, the colourful one. Is it this one? Or I don't know which is my left or your left. I'm assuming this one. Yeah, you get roughly half the money from subscription through some magic which I don't really understand yet. So I'm assuming you're talking about this one. Yes, someone told me this. Each bed is a penny. What is that? Like the purple one in the back. So this is the purple one in the back, the purple and yellow. What colour is this? Doesn't say. Yep, it's boring. It's boring, it's boring. They never let... Oh no, spring swirl. There you go. Okay. Alright. Shay, is this one you're talking about? Alright. So this one for the strainer, this one. Okay. Right, let's do this. Cut this off, and then we will get Oslan. Take off that. Snip it off. I'm the only one I know who has this, apart from my friend who gave this to me. This is a yarn cutter, not a scissors. Like, it's literally got a round blade, and you slip the yarn into these little catches and just yank it, and it cuts it. And I've never heard of them before. No, the first one. Oh, wait. Wait, this one? Now I'm confused. Okay, so this is the one with this is the one that illustrationer picked. So am I just gonna like do extra of this one? You guys are gonna have to decide. You guys are gonna have to decide. I can just do like a lot of this. I'll just put that one in the back. I should label these, I swear to God. I'm going to label them with like, you know, just like numbered, like 1, 2, 3, whatever. Just to, just so it's clear about like what ones I actually mean. Okay, I'll just put that over there. Do, 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 do. Now, the other problem with this is that, come on, extra of the purple one, right? So the other problem with this is that I have not wound this up yet, which means that it's inevitably going to be an absolute bollocks when it comes to the one in your left hand, not the purple. I think you might be like it. So I'm doing this one for Illustrationer, and this one for you, Shay. Is this correct? I'm just gonna get a start. Boop boop boop. Twitch streams have been lagging like hell lately, and I have no idea why. I always thought it was like my internet, and now I'm wondering if it's not, if it's like something else. Begs the question, I swear. Like, it's like just absolute kind of like, oh, it's just a fucking annoying, I'll tell you. I'm going to put that down for a second, okay? I know I'm going to be doing this one. So, we are going to do, I'm going to say 2 rows at least of this. Why not? Yeah, let's do 2 rows. 2 rows in purple and yellow, I believe this one is. So we'll see how it looks. I'm sure it's going to be super fucking cute. Yes, okay, so this one is the one I'm going to do for you. Okay, so I've tied on this one. I'm going to do 2 rows, and then we're going to do some of that. It's going to be fucking awesome. All right. Look, this is Frank. Frank approves. Frank's a lizard. He's also my mascot, but he also approves of this shit. Okay, which way am I? Now I need to remember what side I was working on. Okay, all right, fine. We're good. We're fine. See where we're at. I'm going to put that over there. Yeah, here we go. And for the time being, I will stick with pen style and see how I get on with it. If you want to go back to knife grip, I will do that, or change to something else. I might as well try. I was doing some practice earlier with left-handed. Well, I can't really do the left-handed crochet with this, to be honest, because this is already being done right-handed, and it is only in certain circumstances where you can really swap. And it's going to look a bit strange if I do the swap right now in the middle. If I do it line by line and I'm going for a particular look, then yeah, sure, I can switch to my left hand. But like, not really right now. It's not gonna work very well. I brought the other corner to corner blanket there somewhere. That's the one that's actually being worked left-handed, which is kind of, it's been coming kind of nice, you know, especially because I can really just get some decent practice in working with my left hand. Like, sometimes, like, well, I mean, a lot of the time I feel that, like, I'm definitely more awkward. Like, I can do so many different styles with my right, but my left I can really just do 2, and I can't do English throwing style at all. I've been working at it, you know, just, seeing what I can get out of it. Like, because eventually I think I will be able to get it, but, like, it's less important for me to learn additional styles left-handed. As long as I can teach at least, like, 1 style, I'm going to be happy with that. Oh, the other thing, which I was going to tell you guys, is that first of all, yes, I will actually be legitimately teaching crochet. And I have actually given my first lesson. I only teach in person because I feel like crochet is a very tactile art, and I prefer to teach with myself being right there in person. BC has been doing fairly well at the moment with the coronavirus restrictions, so I don't feel in danger or anything like that, because like we even don't even have a mask mandate anymore. Everything's been very fine. So my first lesson was basically a volunteer friend of mine, and she had done crochet once when she was very, very young, and hadn't remembered any of it, and we just kind of sat down and worked with her for about an hour. If you can teach left-handed, I just need to get my hand fixed. Crowbar, if you want to if you can somehow get to Vancouver, okay, I will absolutely teach you for free. I will show you left-handed crochet. It is like not, it's not that hard. Like my friend who just volunteered, like I didn't charge her or anything. I was just volunteering to say, okay, look, I want to learn, I want to start teaching, so I need a guinea pig to kind of just, to get some experience effectively teaching someone the basics of crochet. And she was quite happy with it or whatever. She gave me some incredibly good feedback, but I managed to go for, like, I only had about an hour or whatever, and I went from teaching her, the wrong style. I went from teaching her, like, she started with like the basic slip knot, and then went, here's how to do the chain, here's doubles, here's singles or whatever like that, and by the end she was doing a granny square, So I was, I thought it went really well. I thought it was like fairly successful overall, and she eventually told me that she had done, like, the little bit that she had that she could remember from when she was a kid, it came back to her pretty quickly as soon as I showed her the right style. Like, I started her on what I consider to be the easiest style to learn, which is the simplified English throwing style, and like, she could definitely work it, even though she said it felt kind of strange. It wasn't what she was used to. But as soon as I switched over and started teaching her traditional style, she got it straight away. And she actually did she kind of naturally, like, went to the knife grip. So that's essentially the style that she would have learned, when she's a kid. So, like, there you go. A lot of the time it's just a matter of, like, finding the correct style for teaching someone. Something that's really going to click with them in whatever level of dexterity they're at. But she was like, she thought everything was, was really great, and that she got the concepts of how to handle tension and how to form the stitches, how to actually, do a stitch without everything falling apart. So I was quite happy with, like, the feedback that I got, and I'm very happy that, like, I could actually teach someone and get going with that, which is, like, considering that that's the first time I've ever actually tried to teach someone in person with a person in front of me asking, hey, show me how this works. Like, I was super happy with it. Like, that's great to know. And, like, having like so many different styles I can teach is going to be phenomenal as well. Like, I've been practicing just working with, like, one hand, and, like, kind of looking at, like, mobility and ergonomics and a few other things, because I think it's probably the thing that really stops people from doing a lot of crochet, is literally just not being able to do it in any functional way, because for whatever reason they don't have the dexterity or the mobility to do it. But anyway, that's like, you're in Eastern Washington, you're not even very far away. Yeah, get your van fixed and get up here. Come have coffee, we'll crochet stuff and bitch about yarn. It'll be fun. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be fun for anybody, maybe you get the idea. But yeah, that was like my week. It's like I taught someone how to crochet, taught someone how to, I taught someone how to crochet successfully, and I didn't, like, fuck it. And I keep forgetting what grip I'm supposed to be using. Sorry. Gotta remember, we're on the pen grip right now until someone changes the style again, and then I gotta figure something else out. It's fine. There. I think this yarn is slightly thicker than the rest. It's still obviously very much cotton, I'm glad your lesson, like, I'm glad I went well. I was kind of scared. Like, I got about, I was getting through it, and she was picking it up really fast, and I was like, shit, what else am I going to teach you now? Because, like, anything that I could do would be, like, maybe it might be considered advanced or something, because I shit you not, I was Googling some stuff about what would be considered advanced crochet, okay? As in stuff that would be considered, like, these are very difficult techniques that you need to be shown how to do them, or, like, it's going to be tricky to pick up because of whatever reason, and, like, the name of the stitches are all just stuff you've never heard of. And I was looking through the list of, like, okay, well, what's really complicated crochet? And one list had, I swear, corner to corner crochet, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, that's not hard. That can't be hard. Corner to corner is literally like, you do double crochets, you do, like, slip stitches to join the corners, and that's it. It's not rocket science. You could learn it from a YouTube tutorial. Like, I don't know where they were going with that. Like, I even went and did a Google search for impossible crochet, because I thought, I gotta see something that I think would actually be challenging, and there is not really anything out there. I was kind of surprised. I did, however, see some shit that I thought was just beyond fucking cool. And when I'm done with my stream, okay, I want you guys to go onto the Googles, and I want you to do a Google search for hyperbolic surface crochet. And you're going to see some wild ass shit, but it's cool wild ass shit. It is what I can only describe as weird fucking coral shapes done using mathematics and some weird ass geometry. And apparently this is the kind of crochet that maths researchers do for fun. And I'm not going to, like, you know, that is immensely cool. You know, I'm really glad that people found ways to, like, combine art and science, you know, because that's always, like, the cool stuff. Like, you know, you find, like, I don't know, you find ways of combining the things that you really love, or the things that could teach people about science, you know, just like, you know, learning through art, which is lovely. But these guys are just like, we just want to see if this is actually possible. So we're just going to do some mad ass shit and try and create like weird, like non-3D shapes or some other bollocks, and using crochet. And you know, like you got to respect that, like that's first of all incredibly extra, as like, as a thing to do for fun. Let's try and break the laws of physics or whatever. I didn't entirely understand what they were talking about. Just that there's something specifically mathematical about doing this particular type of crochet, and the end result looks like weird sea creatures and whatever. And it looks like a pretty fun, you know, pretty funky and fun looking artwork, you know. And I was like, yeah, you know, I may be curious about doing some of that just for the hell of it, if I can find some kind of instruction on how to do it. But I still don't know if that's the kind of thing that I really want to do, all things considered. Because, like, I want to be doing stuff that's literally impossible. Or stuff that's, like, really fucking hard. Because I don't know if I kind of have to kind of show my chops, all right, you know? And I don't know if this is just, like, an ego thing or what, right? But I got to kind of prove to people that, like, you know, look at the cool shit I've done. This is why you want me to teach you how to crochet and pay me money for doing so. Because I am, indeed, just that good at it, all right? So I have this amazing idea for what it would effectively be a masterwork, right? It's gonna be like a bit like I've had some thought. I've been kind of chewing over this in my brain for a while, you know, just to produce something truly magnificently strange, like a one of a kind work of art done using crochet to kind of show off that I do indeed know my shit, kind of thing. And I've thought about it so much, and I know what I'm going to do. And the only question is do I have enough fucking yarn? People doing weird shit with their passions always makes me think of the Nile Red YouTube channel and turning rubber gloves into creeps. So, now the weird thing is that I don't know if you're bullshitting me or not, but it's the internet. I'm pretty sure that has to be a thing. Rubber gloves into creeps. I'm going to look it up. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. Because I don't think you're bullshitting me, and that sounds really cool. Okay, so the thing that I've been thinking about doing, okay, is a wall hanging, a crocheted wall hanging, all right, showing the planets of the solar system. And I would start with the sun at the bottom, and then go, as you sort of crochet upwards, you start adding in the planets and their orbits in like a single line. And the name of the piece would be planetary alignment, because all the planets have to be like, you know, in line. And I would add in orbit lines, and I would add in the asteroid belt in its different texture, and all of the planets would be specifically textured and in their correct colors. For example, so the Earth would be green and blue, Mars would be red with the little whites at the poles, whatever like that. Mercury is probably orange with some red in the middle or something. I'd have to go and actually look it up. Jupiter would have all the correct, like the stripes and what have you. Then, like, Venus would be green, you know, there's going to be like this little, like, basically stuff like that. But the most important thing is that all the planets would be there, their elliptical orbits would be there, and I'm not describing it very well. Long, thin wall hanging, with the top, like a semicircle which represents the sun, and as the rows get added, and they're all semicircles as well, as it gets all the way up to the top, each semicircle is essentially a part of an elliptical orbit, and I'll just slot the planets in wherever they're supposed to be, you know, in the correct order. And then at the very top, you would have the Oort cloud at the edge of the solar system, which is going to be kind of speckled, and I may put in Voyager somewhere as a kind of an extra Easter egg, just for funsies. But anyway, that is essentially going to be a wall hanging, you know, and all of the rows have to be done as a semicircles, essentially overlapping each other, that end correctly and finish at a straight edge on either side. And then in order to get the texture correct, the rows obviously would be worked, like it's flat, so it would be worked back and forth. But on the rows going from right to left, I work with my right hand. On the rows going from left to right, I work with my left hand. So essentially I will have alternating rows of left and right-handed crochet in probably some very complicated stitches, because the planets need to be aligned a certain way. All their orbits need to be added using a slip stitch chain, for like just a basic slip stitch like row or whatever. The actual size and shaping of the planets has to be done within the rows themselves. Like, it would be what I would consider to be a very challenging piece of work, you know. And using left and right-handed crochet would mean that it would be close to impossible unless you have, or, you know, you also have that particular skill. So there's no kind of pattern involved with this. This is literally just like, I'm creating something to show off, you know. And I would say, I've been chewing over it now for a while. Like, I've just like been thinking about like, well, what, you know, am I going to do it? Is this going to be showy enough? Is it going to work, you know, or is the idea itself going to work? Like, I was playing around with the stitches earlier just to see like what would I actually use in it. Like, would I go as far as trebles? Will I do like a modified treble? Like, I could easily do something like say, for example, with fans or with clusters to kind of give it extra texture. I think I'm probably going to leave it just with the regular double crochet for most of it, just to get the height without too much like sacrificing detail, I would say. And then I'm going to have to just start varying the heights of the rows when it actually gets to the planets themselves, simply so that I can work in the correct orbits and what have you. Yeah, there's a lot of thought that's going to go into it. I will probably work on it on stream once I've given it sufficient thought to actually get started with it. So we shall have to see where that takes us. That is not the only thing that I have in mind, however. I also have this idea to make a set of 4 dresses based on the 4 elements: fire, earth, wind, water, etc. And that would essentially be piecework. Like, as in creating many, many pieces and sewing them together or crocheting them together in order to create the actual final shape. And they would all be based on, like, essentially overlapping panels. And that would be just creating long strips, in many cases, that using crochet stitches of different heights. Essentially, again, just to kind of show off, like, I like this, you know, I really do like texture. I like the way that crochet can create, like, long, thin teardrop shapes in a way that knitting really can't, because you can essentially vary the heights of the stitches across an entire row to produce very interesting effects, and I kind of want to create something with that specifically in mind, just to see how it would look. Alright, I think this is going to be the last of this, and we'll get on to the other colour and then see where we're at with it. And every row for the corner to corner thing is going to get a little bit bigger, so I'm probably going to have to, you know, go down a bit. That or just like say, okay, it's going to be like, so it's going to be like this wide, or, you know, I can go up maybe a little bit more, let's say as far as there, and then go up it. Now, this is the problem I have with my corner to corner stuff, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think I need to just kind of adjust the number of stitches I have at the very edge. It's been a pain in it's been a bit of a pain in the ass, you know. I'm still considering it. I think maybe if I block it out, then it'll be okay. It's just that for whatever way I do it, it works up like this. It works up with this, like, this is not a 90-degree angle. This is more of like a 120 degree or something like that. Change crochet style. All right, let's move on. We will cut this and then switch to, I want to say English throwing style. Pick one of those and see how it goes. One sec. Okay, let's put you away for the time being. Let's get to you that I've already rolled up. Alright, once more with feeling. Let's go for a row and a half. It's fun, all fun and indeed hijinks. You guys get to watch me tie yarn and crochet random stuff. Okay, let's see, here we go. Now, the big question is, which way around am I? Yeah, okay. Alright, if you've never seen it before, this is what English throwing style crochet looks like. It's basically the same as the knitting, except you hold a pen style. You don't necessarily have to hold a pen style. I know this is like what I would call the fast throw method. There is also I suppose what you call it, the simplified throw, which is a little bit slower but much easier to get to grips with, in my opinion. And the reason that I would teach that particular style in preference. Like say, for example, if someone said, oh, I know absolutely nothing about crochet, I'm just like, okay. I could probably teach you traditional style, and because that's the one you're going to see most often. But if they say, oh, I already know knitting, then at that point I'd be just like, yeah, okay, you know what? You already know knitting, and if you know English style, I'm going to teach you the same style except in crochet, because that's probably the one that you're going to find most familiar, the one that you'll pick up the easiest. You always want the style that's going to find most familiar, because if there's something that they're comfortable with already, doing it more in that style means they will probably stick with it instead of finding things uncomfortable. What am I making? I am doing a corner-to-corner blanket, which is part of my channel point redemption. So one of the nice peoples here has picked this colour, and I'm adding a little bit to this kind of not really completed. This is kind of just a nascent blanket. It hasn't been going on for very long. And we are going to do a few rows on this. And I was using traditional style with the pen grip, and now I've switched over to English throwing style. Well, English fast throw. You can always do the English slow throw instead, which is fine. It's you know, whatever. Styles, I think, are less important than actually just getting it done. And the fast throw is, funnily enough, just very good for precision, but it is not as fast. You know, it is really not as fast as doing any of the traditional ones. Like, I've tested many different styles, and I've found that traditional style with a knife grip is actually probably going to be the fastest style that you can do, simply because the motions are the smallest that you can make in order to move the yarn. English throwing style is just very good for precision. I find precision is a major issue sometimes for traditional style, and if I'm doing complex work, I will generally do English throwing style instead, because it's much easier to find the correct loop to dig into, essentially. And once you get used to it, now it's quite easy. When do you stream? I stream Sunday nights, always on the Sunday nights. That is just kind of when I am free, and it is also when my kids are not around the place and driving me crazy. Because, fun fact, having 2 small children around the place kind of puts a damper in your ability to stream basically anything. They are 4 and 7, and entirely too big and loud for their own good at this point. Well, no, it's fine. Funnily enough, I actually taught my daughter how to crochet, because she saw Mummy doing the silly thing with the hooks, and she was just like, hey, can you teach me how to do that? And I was all ready to teach her like the simplified English throwing style, and she was like, no, I want to learn it the way you do it, the fast style. And I'm like, okay, fine. And you know, she made a good effort, I thought. You know, she did pretty well. She was like, you know, she was cracking on with it, you know, considering the fact that she's only 6. You know, she's just, well, 7. She just turned 6. She just turned 7. She was 6. Our birthdays are quite similar. I watch one of my friends stream Monday through Friday, so that works perfectly. I'm just going to, oh, well, you know, like I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here regardless. I try to be consistent. I don't stream very often because I'm still trying to figure out when I can. I do a lot of stuff, even though I don't have a job. I do things like vintage resale, and I know a lot of random information about vintage items, especially glass and what have you. And I make a little bit of the monies doing that. But I spend a lot of my time out at thrift stores, and also just watching other streamers and doing an absolute bananas amount of crochet. So it's, you know, it depends. I'm still trying to work out like when can I stream during the week, you know? When would that be good? Because I have delusions of grandeur, and I also want to write a fantasy novel on stream, because I think that would be fucking hilarious, and no one's going to stop me. I've already been told it's a bad idea several times, so don't worry about that. I'm fully aware that it's probably stupid. However, I am committed. And I think that, if nothing else, people will be absolutely entertained by the sheer level of utter batshit nuts that goes into actually trying to form sentences out of words, like, just trying to write a story and all that other shit. And you know, if people are nice, maybe I'll let them name the book or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, I figure, like, why not? It's going to be a thing. Like, I mean, I know people work on, like, their comics and stuff on stream. Like, they do the artwork and all that other crap. And, like, I think maybe people might be interested in watching me write. People seem to be able to watch. There is some segment of Twitch who, I kid you not, do nothing but watch people sleep. And I gotta say, I'm kind of baffled, even though I should really not be surprised by literally anything on the internet these days, because it doesn't really make any sense when you think about it. Like, oh, better to have tried and failed than never not to have tried at all. Indeed, indeed. The world belongs to the people who are willing to do things in spite of how stupid they look. And considering that a large part of my life has been like high consequences and failing and suffering for it, I figure at this point, you know what, fuck it, no stakes. Let's just do this thing and see what happens. It's got to be easier than what I was doing before. Even streaming is to be easier than I was doing before, in fairness. Wait, who told you I watch people sleep? Look, Nigel. Look. I'm not judging. I just want you to know that. I would never judge, okay? You just gotta admit it's a bit weird. Like, I don't know what the appeal is, you know? It's like, you gotta admit that it's a bit strange. Like, it's, like people, you know what, people on Twitch watch the strangest stuff, you know, and it's just like, and I don't understand it, but I don't want to harsh their vibe, you know. I don't want to say that, like, hey, you're bad for, like, you know, you're stupid and weird for watching people sleep, because, you know, maybe they're getting something out of it, you know. Because you can't judge people for the stuff, for the stuff that they enjoy. You know, especially when it's not hurting anybody. Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's not hurting anybody. There's people there streaming themselves asleep. And I'm assuming that they get something out of it as well. You know? Maybe they enjoy being watched over. You know? Maybe they consider it protective or whatever. That they know that if something happens, that all the people watching them are going to wake them up and scream at them using their mentions. Or, I don't know. Maybe it's that. People are into weird stuff. And, you know, I just just leave them alone. Let them enjoy the things they enjoy, you know, because they're not hurting anybody. Because you think when all the things that people do enjoy that actually do hurt people, and I'm fucking this up. Ugh. Yeah, come on, Cypher. Now, I know I said English throwing style is good for precision, and I didn't mean that, but I am not perfect, even though I'm generally pretty good at crochet, and I will cock it up. Because, yeah, I'll probably split the thread there. You know what? Fuck it. We're just going to continue. It's not fine. It's whatever. You know, we're just going to accept that particular stitch is not going to be perfect, because nothing is perfect in life, and you can't beat yourself up for stuff that, like, it really doesn't matter, because that one stitch is just, no one's going to know about it except us. So we're not going to obsess about it. We're not going to, like, frog it back or whatever. We're just going to let it be. And the yarn will hopefully accept this small sacrifice and won't be an asshole later on when we're trying to do something else. Oh, you mean there's people who stream themselves sleeping? Yeah, for Oh, Nigel, I'm just whatever you're into, it's okay. Just, you know, as long as it's consensual. I'm just saying, we're not going to judge. Anyway, so apart from the other bullshit going on, I did hear about apparently something happened with the Oscars with Will Smith, and he may have, if I understand it correctly, slapped Chris Ross because Chris Ross insulted Jada Smith. And I don't know who's actually watching the Oscars. I just saw some stuff on Twitter before I got on stream. And I was just like, okay, that actually might get me watching it again. And I don't know if that was a bit or not, or if they're just like, was that a joke or something? And now I'm curious. Because, you know, if it turns out that Will Smith did actually slap Chris Ross across the face because he insulted Jada Smith, you just, like, I can at least respect the you know, the man stands up for his family. You know, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just, is that where we're going now? Oh my God. I didn't watch, but I saw the context, and Chris's joke was in super bad taste. Yet he made some kind of a joke. He made some, and I'm just, oh God, look at me. Look at me, streamer talking about current events. Very current, because they literally just happened, you know? Hell yeah. When it's, like, just wait, I'll start talking about politics, and then we're really going to have something going here. No, I'm joking, we're not going to talk about politics. Don't, you know, no. Don't let anybody bring up politics. Like, there's only so much bandwidth we all have in the day, and I'm pretty sure that the bandwidth extends to discussing the fact that Will Smith hit somebody on camera. Let's just stick to that. Let's just stay in our comfort zone here. We're not gonna go outside the box. We're gonna sit here nice and comfy in the box where we've got cookies and yarn. And bubbly. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Hell to the motherfucking yeah. Okay, what am I doing? Oh yeah, right. Corner to corner. See, I'm not entirely sure what I'm actually going to start doing after this. Like, see, I got into this random discussion, okay, about the Met Gala during the week. And I was just like, Iris Van Herpen dresses are like the most incredible things in the world, and I want to be her, and I want to make dresses like her. And then obviously I just thought about crochet dresses, and then everything has spiraled out of control after that. But I'd be surprised if he doesn't get charged with assault, but making fun of someone's medical condition is super not okay. Yeah, I heard apparently he made fun of her being bald or something like that. That's not okay. And if Chris Rock has any fucking sense, he is not going to press charges. He'll just let it go and sold the cops, because, no. He'll just like, nope, sorry. Like, he'll just say, oh, I'm sorry, man, had it coming, not going to happen again. And just like say, yeah, just that was poor taste. All apologies, just let it go. And then that'll be the end of it. It won't turn into a PR disaster. My cynical self thinks it's a planned thing. I mean, no one watches the Oscars, but now everyone's talking about it. Ooh, yes. Now, I know that was the question on Twitter as well. It's like, is this some fucking conspiracy theory? Or, like, it was just one of those shittier conspiracies about, like, how can we drum up more publicity for the Oscars? And while part of me suspects that there's a non-zero chance that this is in fact the case, I think that would require more actual thought than most people in Hollywood are capable of. And I say this because I have spent far too long in corporate tech, and I have seen the state of corporate tech, and I've generally come to the conclusion that a large number of people making the grand decisions are in fact colossal fucking morons. And the only way that anything like this seems like it might happen is purely by fucking accident. As in, essentially, there's no such thing as the Illuminati. It is all just people being utter dickbags and very, very stupid. And I think there's a far greater likelihood that this was entirely not planned. And it's just like, literally spur of the moment, Will Smith was like, what the fuck did you say about me? Yeah, okay. The call centre at my workplace has an Oscars party every year. They get dressed up in formal for the day. Considering a bunch of the yelling was just straight up censored, I doubt it was staged. Ooh, I wonder what he said. Ooh, yeah, you see, maybe it wasn't staged. That would definitely suggest that it wasn't, and I'd be suspicious, I'll tell you. Because, like, you're still, like, just got this assault, like, Jada Smith, oh, God, I can't remember if that's his daughter, isn't it? Is it Jada? I'm pretty sure it's his daughter. Because I can't remember what his wife's name is called. And I gotta say, like, my dad is 70, and I would be absolutely honoured if he turned around and slapped a bitch for insulting me. I think that would just be the sweetest thing in the world, You stand up for your family, It's just nice, It's like, yeah, that's nice. It's like, it's kind of like, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to risk getting arrested by the cops just to defend my honor, I think the only person that's done that so far is my husband. Oh, Jada is his wife. Yeah, I can't remember. That almost makes it worse. That's the problem. Okay. Like, I could absolutely understand that if he doesn't want to, but that like, maybe if someone insulted his daughter, then maybe he would let that go. But if he insulted his wife, holy shit, no, dude's gonna pop off. Damn, like, that was just a stupid thing to do. You shouldn't go after a man's family. It's not okay. Okay, so here we go. We have the browns, which is kind of earthy colour, then we've got the greens, and then we've got the purple and the yellows, and then we've got the pink and the blue. And I think that this is coming up with this lovely, yeah, I think this is turning out kind of nice. He was yelling, get my wife's name. Oh, okay, yeah, it must be his wife. I absolutely cannot remember. And she has alopecia. Oh my God, the poor woman. That's going to be a whole thing. Although in fairness, like, she's beautiful anyway, so I'm sure if she does decide to rock the bald look, it's gonna be beautiful, you know? But damn, like, he should not have said shit about her. That's not okay. Not with the dude, like, right there, not, like, you'd think they would have cleared this stuff first. Again, this is why I go back to my original premise, which is the people in charge are fucking idiots. It makes sense. It absolutely does. Everybody's a total idiot and nobody cleared this. Yeah, it's just the way it rolls. Okay, so here we are, and I'm going to get back to keep working on that hood again. We are rolling onwards. Yes, I keep my yarn in a Subway bag. Don't worry, it's clean. I will take no comments at this time. My yarn storage is an ongoing issue. We're just gonna, you know, it is a whole thing. It is a whole thing. If I cannot be completely taken over by all the cotton yarn I routinely have looking around the place, I'll be doing well. All right, back to this. Actually, I will give you guys the option. If you want, I'll continue with this, because I think I only have like another, what? I'll count it, but I think I only have maybe one more row to do before I'm done. Or I can do the corner to corner left-handed blanket, which I have somewhere here. There somewhere. So if you guys want me to swap over to that, just to see something different, I can totally do that. This yarn is getting a bit annoying anyway. It's like I've been working on this now for I don't know how long, and don't get me wrong, I really like the cardigan. I think it's going to look really cool and really kind of nice. This is incredibly heavy and incredibly warm, considering that it's a granny square pattern. This has literally got holes in it and clusters of, you know, 3 double crochets. Like, it has a lot of holes. Like, considering that, this is still an incredibly hot, you know, it's a pretty warm camera. I'm sweating sitting here. Crazy but true. And the other thing, I don't actually know if it shows up, but I'm still wearing this, the little star headband I made a while ago. Apparently, someone told me that like that's gonna make a lovely bridal headband, and I'm like, fucking seriously? This is like really plain. But no, apparently, like if I do it in white, I'm gonna have like the whole wedding industry going looking for this, and I'm like, okay, that's an entire thing. But all right, I'll see if I can do a version in white with beads and shit. That's what the brides, I guess, want. I don't know. See, I am married, but I was not married in a traditional sense, and I didn't have the big white wedding, and I definitely didn't have the big white wedding dress with the whole veil and all that stuff. It was more of the whole Vegas shotgun wedding kind of thing, which I absolutely loved, and I consider it one of the highlights of my life is the fact that I could have gotten married by Elvis in Las Vegas, and I decided not to because I didn't want to spring for the extra $200. And, you know, I kind of regret that I didn't do it at the time. But I'm just like, you know what, it's like whatever, you know, like you make mistakes when you're young, okay? But not that. Like, I think the mistake was not getting married by Elvis. I think getting married was like a great idea, you know? But no, it's like, I am tangentially aware of the wedding industry. I generally do not know much about it other than it being really fuck off expensive. I did not take part in it in any way because, well, effectively when I got married, I was poor. Yeah. Way past my bedtime. Yeah, I know, go on, son. I will see you on the Discords. Good luck with your nail polish collection. Like, I think at this point you really got to figure out some way of like displaying them or something, because like all of those colours just look amazing. When are you going to start streaming? God damn it! Yeah. All right. Let's get this done. Let's see where we get with this. Like, I've got one more row, I believe, and then we will see where we're at after that. And I really should I'm gonna get this done. So I'm gonna stick with knife grip for a while, because I really do want to get this done quickly. And then we will see where we're at. Like, this is the biggest problem, I swear to God. Doing like, I can normally go quite quickly with knife grip, but this yarn does not want to be worked. It is opinionated. And I'm going to be glad that I'm done with it, you know. I just, like, for the sake of, like, I'm kind of glad that I did the whole granny square cardigan, because I think that's just been good for me, you know, getting back into into the flow of, like, doing the granny square style and everything. And just for the record, this cardigan is based on, I mean, I've made some changes to it, obviously, but it's actually based on a pattern by Passio Knits. She also streams. She is an absolute legend, because she has a particular style of traditional crochet. I can't quite replicate it, because like it's more of an experience and practice thing, and I just don't have it. I don't quite have it yet. Basically, if you want to know how to do speed crochet, especially with the granny square style in general, you need to go and watch her channel and watch her hands as she moves. Like, it is absolutely fascinating to watch how quick she can work. Like, she essentially can knock out a granny square cardigan in something like 6 hours. An adult cardigan, you know, based on her patterns. Now, yes, that is chunky yarn, but 6 hours for a cardigan is absolutely fucking nuts, for the record. That is phenomenally fast. That is far faster than it took me to do this thing. Like, this is not very heavy yarn. This is maybe, I want to say, it's not quite worsted. I think it's more sport weight. But considering how dense this is, this has taken me, like, on and off several weeks, you know. This is like, if I'd have to sit down and just do nothing but this, I would probably take about, you know, like 8 hours a day. It would probably take me up to a week to finish it completely. And that's including, like, the hood and everything. So, like to be clear, like, she can really knock the stuff out fast. But the way that she works is just, like, very specific. And it is definitely geared towards speed above all else. And she does it incredibly well. Major, major respect for her. And she also has amazing patterns. But that's more of a craft kind of thing. It's like, if you don't do crochet, then maybe you're not going to be interested in that. I personally think it's fucking incredible. It's the kind of thing that, like, that is like the like, other artists will kind of just appreciate that a lot. Like, especially if you're just like a nerd like me, who's interested in different ways of doing crochet. And figuring out, like, more, like, what's the best way to do it for ergonomics? Where's the best way for efficiency? What's the best way for just, like, if you're doing this particular style, if you're doing this particular, like, pattern, can you go faster one way or another way? That kind of thing. Because that's just the way I am. And I got to call myself an artisan of some kind. I've got to actually give serious thought to this kind of bollocks. Like, for example, have found doing this is that although I can get fairly quick with a lot of other styles, the knife grip is basically the one that is consistently does not split the yarn. But it depends almost entirely on how accurate my angle is while I'm doing the actual pull. And if I mess up that angle too much, then the yarn will start to split. It's not about speed. It's not necessarily about speed. It can definitely be, because you end up not being careful and you kind of just lose it. But if you get that angle correct, you can go as fast as you want and you will never split the yarn. And you can see I've split it there, because I essentially missed the pull. I picked but then missed the pull, and then because my angle was just a little bit off. And yeah, the thing is that if you're into crochet, you end up thinking about this kind of stuff. Like, well, how can I adjust by tiny amounts to get the greatest speed out of it, or get the correct ergonomics? And I'm gonna fucking split it. Okay. Now, in fairness, this is something that may just be interesting to only me. But you know what? I think if you're going to hang out on my channel, you might as well be aware of the fact that I am a massive nerd. And this is just kind of the stuff that I'm into. It's okay, though. I promise by next week I'll have something more interesting going on. Hopefully I will start the planetary alignment hanging. And at that point, you guys are going to be seeing some pretty weird shit, because I'm not sure how that's going to plan out. I'm really not sure how that's going to play out at all. And I'm pretty sure that if I do it, no one else is going to be able to do it. It's just going to be me and whatever passes from my weird brain. Oh boy, it's going to be fun. well, I say fun with, you know, big quotation marks or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's going to drive me nuts. But it's important to do it. And I like to do the Bob Ross thing of just depending a lot on serendipity to just kind of take you where you need to go. Not where you intended to go, not just where you need to go. Or you can find something, that appeals to you. Because like it has been entirely serendipity that I even got back into crochet at all, because I was a programmer. But after hurting my back severely, and then, well, blew my back out twice and then had a mental breakdown, you know, I might never have gotten back into this, but needs most. The whole having my brain broken in half by stress kind of put paid to the idea of being back into the tech industry, so I ended up having to do something to occupy my time and try to, like, soothe my severe anxiety, and I ended up picking up crochet again. Crochet and knitting. And wouldn't you know it, crochet was the thing, it just kind of made it all better. It just kind of, it's like a meditation or whatever. It's like, because what I'm always saying is that the yarn doesn't judge. And the yarn, by and large, doesn't. The yarn can be an absolute asshole, and because I have synesthesia, I'm constantly thinking of yarn as being like a person, and I will just constantly describe yarn in ways that make absolutely no sense. And for that, like, I'm very sorry. You're just going to have to roll with it. Like, sorry. Nothing wrong with words. Hollow the Wise Wolf. Hi. I've seen you in Topher's chat. How's it going? I was trying to remember, where do I know your name from? Yes, you followed Topher the First. That's where I know you from. How's it going? Hope you're having a good time. Yeah, so it's like, I'm generally of the opinion that, like, the yarn doesn't judge. The yarn can be a bit of a dick sometimes, but the yarn doesn't judge. The yarn only asks you for your time and your energy, and the hook or the needles to actually make something from it. But otherwise, it's just, you know, it's not going to get up in your grill. It's not going to start demanding shit of you. It's just going to sit there and wait for you to do something with it. And, you know, in fairness, it may not always be on board with whatever you're doing. And God knows I've had yarn like that. But it's very straightforward, usually, in how it's just like, you generally know straight up that, you know, this yarn's not going to play. This yarn is just going to be an absolute shit to us. And we're going to probably have to go and find something else. And occasionally you'll get yarn that just basically straight up hates you, and it will never be good for anything. And the best you can do with that yarn is either put it in a bag and forget about it, or take it aside and sacrifice it to the gods of yarn basically as a warning to the rest of it, but also as though that it may never be inflicted on anybody else. Because some yarns just like, no, you know, it's born bad. Yeah, I kind of figured that, like, patience is just about a given. If you're going to be a knitter or get into crochet or whatever, you will just have to be patient. But I think patience is kind of a lesser thing to ask for, because you essentially don't require the patience, because the act and the work is its own reward, not the end of it. Like, you will get to the end, and at the end, hopefully, you will have a nice like crocheted or knitted object. But if you don't enjoy the journey, or if you find the journey itself frustrating, then there's no amount of patience that will carry you there. You have to just you have to enjoy the experience. You have to like the process and want to just do something as simple as putting stitch after stitch with nothing more. Happy accident. I had happy accidents led me to figure out a pothole pattern. That's lovely. I have a whole bunch of books of vintage books on macrame, and I keep meaning to go and break them out and just try a few things with some of my cotton cords, because I have so much cotton, like vast quantities of cotton. I got to do something with it. At the moment, all I've got is like, I'll just turn it all into underwear and call it good. No, I kind of go and ramble off a bit, but the thing is that, like, it's hard to explain to people that when I talk about the way that crochet is meditative and calming, and just it's very kind of thoughtless. It's like, once you get the muscle memory down, you can just essentially just keep going, and you can let your mind go blissfully blank and just let it be whatever it is. And I absolutely believe that the nature of knitting and crochet, once people get into it, is like, it is a remarkable, possibly not very well known tool in just soothing anxiety and getting people out of their own heads and into a place of calm, a place where nothing's going bad. It's just like, you don't need to be afraid. All you've got is the yarn and the hook, and it doesn't even matter where you end up. All you gotta do is just pick up the process and just let it go, let it be what it is. But someone described me a while ago as the Bob Ross of crochet, and I'm just like, that is a high honor indeed, and I don't know if I am worthy of such a title, but I think that would be very nice if I could be that, because Bob Ross was a phenomenon, and like sometimes I go and watch his videos, and just like, he absolutely believed in the power of art to be like a calming and balancing influence on people's lives. And the process of creating art as a means to kind of settle the mind and kind of even yourself out and essentially perform meditation, which is nice. It's like, I think we should be looking for that and be encouraging that across all crafts, especially things that you can just sit and do as easily as this. You literally just sit down and crochet anywhere, and I do. I got 3 cakes of cotton for the first time ever recently. I forgot to look for the right weight of yarn as well as being cotton. Oh God. Like, I buy cotton and stuff from thrift stores. I don't get a choice in what weight I get. Somehow I make it work, I think you should, I generally allow myself to be guided by whatever yarn I can get a hold of that is reasonably good quality. I am lucky in that most of the cotton I get is all the same weight. But, I don't feel bad for getting stuff that isn't quite the same weight, because I'm just like, we'll figure something out. It'll be fine. And in this case, all of this yarn actually was, a friend of mine gave it to me, because another friend's mother had apparently been hoarding yarn, and the friend was just like, please come and take away some of this yarn and distribute it among the people. And my friend was like, oh, absolutely. So she got something like four big black rubbish bags full of yarn, okay? And at that point, she just took out a whole bunch of the really nice stuff, like the art, like hand-dyed art yarn or whatever. And then she called me up and said, hey, I know you've been using up a lot of yarn lately. Do you want to come and take a look at this stuff? And I came down, just like, she's my neighbour as well. I came down as well and just looked at these enormous bags of yarn and said, what are you planning to do with this? And she's like, well, I was going to just like, give as much as you want, and then I'll just like give this, I'll just start giving it to people and see where we get with it. And I'm just like, no. Let me take all for cipher. I'll figure out the storage later. I'll figure out the storage problem later. Right now, I just give me all the yarn. Because the thing about this yarn is that most of it was really good quality, Hundreds of dollars of really quality stuff yarn. And there was a lot of large lots of yarn. I got 10 cakes of this stuff. Well, 10 balls. I ended up winding it up because I was just like, I'm not leaving this as the balls, because that's just going to make me want to kill myself more. No, that's hyperbole. It would make me want to slap myself upside the head a lot, because just using like balls instead of doing the proper thing and winding it into a center pull cake is just like, what are you even doing with your life? Just no, don't do that to yourself. It's not worth it. It really isn't. No one needs a ball rolling around the place or trying to pull it from the center and having it basically disembowel itself. And at that point, you've got a mess on your hands that you've got to try and wind up. And look, nobody got time for that. Just do it properly from the start. Get a center pull ball, wind it up nice, and then go nuts with it. But anyway, there was enough to make stuff like sweaters out of that, like enough of a significant amount of yarn, which is really what I wanted. I was like, I'm not going to be able to make anything big unless I can get large lots of yarn. Unfortunately, the oldie thrift store ain't selling big lots of yarn. It's all the bitty stuff. And I can work with that, but I can't make things of all the same colour. And then this happens. Not even center pull balls are immune from the curse of disemboweling themselves. Okay, come on, we can do this. I ordered it online because apparently I can't tell the difference between cotton and acrylic yarn with my laser hands. Oh, yeah. I mean, I will say, like, in fairness, it is reasonably tricky to tell the difference. And, like, a lot of the time I can't, because the blends get so specific that you really would not be able to tell, like, offhand anyway, whether it is acrylic or not, Cotton, I think, is fairly easy to pick up. For the rest of it, like it's sometimes I spot like good wool or cotton, and the only reason I can grab it for cheap is because it's written in a language that the people of Value Village don't understand. Like I got massive lots of like really good Japanese cotton simply because like it was written, there was cotton written on the band, but it was in Japanese, and apparently that Valley Village had no one spoke Japanese, which was a bit weird in Vancouver of all places. We have a fantastically big Asian population, but no, apparently not. And they didn't bother using Google Translate, but who knew? But I mean, 2 seconds with Google Translate, I knew what it was, and I was like, yep, thank you, man, I'll go take that. It'll go into the cotton stash. I've done that in my he just looks nuts. No. Look, I don't think you can do this without being slightly nuts. It's fine. You know you're nuts. Why you signed it up because you're signing for another device? Why are you? Oh, okay. So one of my accounts has apparently gone mad. Let's just tech issues, whatever. It's fine. Fine. Okay, let's go. We got more stuff to do here. I've only got one more row, then we're going to be done. One more row, and then I can finally get on and finish this hood. And I'm really hoping I can do it before I end stream at 11. Because I can really only go for about 2 hours before I either get too tired or it seems like I've got nothing more interesting to say. But mostly because I'm too tired. It's 11 o'clock at night here in the Pacific Northwest. But we will see how we get on. No, I think, I kind of feel that like people will just kind of get into their comfort zone with yarn and then just kind of stick to that as much as possible. Like there's a friend of mine who's super into knitting, and what she really loves is expensive Icelandic wool. And personally, I have been through her stash. She gave me a whole bunch of yarn as well, by the way. But I have the best friends. They just give me all this stuff. When I first got back into crochet, a friend of mine was just like, here, you can borrow all my crochet hooks, and here you go. Here's 2 really expensive chunky yarns. Go do something with them. And I was like, you can't just give me this. She's like, of course I can. Go take them. Go take them. Go make the things. And I ended up making a hat, which was really nice. And then I have like another 2. I have those 2 skeins, another 2 that I still haven't used yet. And I'm trying to decide to make something for her specifically because she just straight up gave me a whole bunch of yarn. Like, you gotta, that's really nice. And then she just like lent me all of her crochet hooks just when I was getting back into it, I'm not gonna forget a thing like that. But yeah, like the other friend of mine or whatever, who's also given me yarn, she's just all about the Icelandic wool. And I personally find that so rough that I can't work it. I don't enjoy it. I love superwash merino. Like, really, any kind of merino, I'm absolutely about that. Especially, like, a softer merino with a lot of texture in it. Or, like, something that brings up texture well. Like, or something that really shows off a crochet stitch. There's some that do it. Like, any kind of Malabrigo, I cannot love that stuff enough. Like, Malabrigo Rasta, I don't care how expensive it is. God help me if I go into a yarn store and I see that, I will spend the next half hour doing nothing but squishing them. I'll squish all the skeins, and then I'll just like, I'll have to talk myself out of like spending $200 on Malabrigo yarn. But the Icelandic rough wool, not my thing. Like not my thing. And lace is a bit too thin for me. I think I kind of like bigger stuff. Have I split the yarn? Stop. There we go. Of course I'm not. I spent hours weaving intricate knots into yarn. Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of mental unbalancing just to find this to be fun and relaxing. It's literally very monotonous when you think about it. Also, I love that emoji. That's cute. I'm also on the West Coast. Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of assume that anybody who's here at 9 o'clock or whatever, 9 o'clock PST is probably also on the West Coast because the time zone is just like a bit of a mess for basically everybody else. Everyone else is just like, oh, it's too early or too late or something. It's just kind of annoying. Or maybe you're from Australia or like something like that. I don't know how the time zones work. I think Australia's maybe they're a little bit too early as well. I don't know. All I know is that like if I'm streaming from 9 to 11, that it's possible someone from Ireland is going to be, you know, maybe they'll have insomnia and they'll go up and see me at like bullshit o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. From Ireland, it'd be kind of nice if they did actually come and watch, but well. This is the time that I can definitely stream, and I'm consistent about showing up every single week. Because sometimes the best part of my week is just getting on stream and doing a whole bunch of crochet. Gives me something to do. Gives me someone to talk to. Especially when the week has been a bit of a mess and I haven't really gotten out much. Yeah. Oh yeah, Canada stopped the daylight savings time. I can't, like, you know, I don't even know at this point when that shit actually goes together. I'm just like, my phone tells me what time it is and it automatically adjusts and I just kind of roll with that. Like, my sense of time is fucked up anyway because my back gets immensely sore and I end up waking up at 5 a.m. being unable to sleep and being unable to do much of anything because my shoulders hurt so much and I end up just basically getting up and drinking an absolute gallon of fucking coffee and then taking a shit ton of painkillers. And then from that point, I spend several hours just watching Twitch, crocheting, and generally feeling like absolute dog shit. And then just like, I sleep again as soon as I kind of just can't stay awake anymore. And then, but I end up sleeping on the fucking couch because that's just how it goes. I was going to ask if you're Irish to do next for fun. Oh my God. You know, I've always wondered if someone's going to ask me, what's the deal with the accent? Oh, no. I'm Irish. I was born and raised in Limerick. I lived in Cork for about 10 years before I finally immigrated to Canada. I landed in Canada in January 2011. All right. I've been here ever since. I became a permanent resident a couple of years ago. I've done the whole, citizenship application, whatever, I don't know, because Ireland allows dual citizenship. So that's in the works. Technically, I'm still, at the moment anyway, I'm still a filthy immigrant. I'm just like a more official filthy immigrant. And what I keep telling people is that just wait until I get citizenship, then I'll be able to vote and you'll be sorry. I've never been, but I'm 75% Irish. Yeah. I mean, we get around a lot for what it's worth, you know? Like, big, huge ass tradition of just, like, taking off to parts unknown and settling down and generally bringing our ridiculous accents with us, you know? Although, in fairness, like, I didn't immigrate to Canada until I was 30. I'm never going to lose the accent at this rate. And my accent tends to get more ridiculous when I get angry. It's been a whole thing being in Canada, or North America in general. And them not like just basically the people around me not really understanding my accent. Something about it, especially in Starbucks. I don't know if they intentionally get my name wrong, but the way that I say my name is apparently enough for them to confuse the absolute shit out of them. And it was funny for a while, and then eventually I just realised, oh, you know, you're talking too fast. You got to slow down, because back in Ireland we talk very, very fast and with like in a way that, you know, there's a lot of like kind of quick slang and all this kind of stuff. So it's just wait, no, the North Americans aren't going to understand a word you're saying. And I get it quite a bit where I'm just like, I'll get people looking at me like I'm speaking a different language. And technically I am, because I speak Hiberno English, which is different from North American English or Canadian English or even American English. And it's certainly different from, like, you know, UK English or whatever. Anyway, you should go to Ireland, but go during the summer. Try to avoid the rain. Good luck. Nice place to visit. Can't recommend living there because it's got its own set of issues, and the government are a pile of, basically a shower of idiots. Well, they're either a shower of idiots or a shower of utterly corrupt assholes, and there's really nothing in between. Bunch of fucking morons or guys who would sell their own mother for a buck, or, you know, for money. Yeah. But that's Irish politics. And that's a whole other thing that I just don't have the spoons to actually get into at this point. Suffice to say, I occasionally look at my home country and slap my forehead and go, for fuck's sake, lads. Anyway. Now, the big question is, what 75% of you is Irish, and then where in Ireland? Like, do you know the family name? Do you know the area or whatever? And do you know when your family actually came over, to North America? I'm so curious to find out, because like I know a lot of people who like even my family. There's an entire branch of like my family that ended up in Boston, and they immigrated in what was it, the 70s? And so my grandaunt or whatever just basically left and went to Boston in the 70s. Just left her whole family, buggered off across the world, whatever, and settled down there. You know, so now that's how I've got American cousins. Very common thing, in fairness. But I have a sister-in-law in Bristol in the UK. I have a sister in Minneapolis. She moved with her husband. I have a brother-in-law who, last I heard, is in Sydney, or possibly Singapore. He moves around a lot. And 2 brothers back in Ireland. Countless friends who've moved all over Europe. So, like, it's just the way it is with the Irish. We get around all over the place. Like, I have college friends who ended up moving to Seattle to work for Microsoft. And another friend who moved to Australia, I think, just for the hell of it. Just wanted to change, and they decided that they were going to just move out to another country. We just seem to be good at it, We seem to be good at just like moving out and just like landing wherever and just like, right lads, this is home now, let's see what we make of it, kind of a thing. It's definitely what happened to me and my husband anyway. The only thing I know is that our last name was O'Bannon, and then when they immigrated the O was dropped. O'Bannon. Yeah, it doesn't narrow it down, unfortunately. That is an Irish name as far as I know. O'Bannon, with the no N, would definitely be an Irish name. But as to what part of the country it's from, hard to say. I don't know offhand. Come on. We're nearly finished this now, so I might actually be able to get the hood done. And we have another 20 minutes. Yeah, we might actually do this thing. Come on. Come on. No more splitting the thread. We are nearly done with this hood. And it's going to be cute. Swear to God. It's going to be nice. We're going to be like, dude, it's going to be like a whole thing. It's going to be lovely. All I got to do is count the rows and make sure that I'm actually consistent with it. Because if it turns out that I have too many or too few rows, then we may be here a little bit longer. Come on. Last bit. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3. And then, come on, slip stitch into place. And without splitting the yarn. There we go. Right. My phone auto-corrected it to Ian. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no, there you go. Goddamn autocorrect. All right. Okay, let's see where we're at. Let's see. We have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. All right, we're good. That's 20. Here's the other side of it. And just signed off there. This should be the same now. Row 20. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right. Okay. Okay. So that is going to be good. Let's see. I kind of want to whip stitch this. I don't want to just crochet it into place. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to just whip stitch this together. I'm not feeling so good about the whole, I'm not going to just crochet that. I could, just to be clear, I could actually do a crochet seam, but I did it on the main cardigan and I was not happy with the results. So we're going to whip stitch it and call it good. Just need my good knee. There we go. My tapestry. And we will just pull this in. I'll weave in all these ends later on. I'm not going to need to do it now because I'm just putting it together. Alright, let's leave that down there. I'm going to need that. Okay, alright. We are going to have to do these backwards. Alright, I'm going to have these two corners together. I'm going to say this is going to be the back of the hood. So that back there, that there, and we are going to whip stitch the top seam and the seam at the back. And this is going to be sort of a roughly pointed hood. I'm kind of like, I've never actually done one before, so I'm going to kind of be eyeballing this, but we'll see what we make of it. It's one of those that we're not entirely sure. We've got like 20 minutes, so might as well have a go. And I may have to do this in stages, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to get to there, and there, a little bit extra. All right. If it turns out that we need more yarn, we're just going to have to roll with it. And in fact, just for the sake of it, I'm going to take off the cardigan. Come on. Now, the other question is how I'm actually going to get the hood on, and the hood is going to be going on a single, basically this edge or whatever is going to become the actual seam, and it's going to go on the top here. So, like, I don't know. I'm hoping it'll show up to be kind of cute, but you know, it's just like, this is a whole experiment. This is just going to be an experiment. Oh, okay. Let's see. I could put you over there. Ooh. I actually don't know. It was like, someone actually said to me the other day, it's like, where do you have the tutorial on whip stitching stuff together? And I'm like, I didn't realize that we needed a tutorial on that. I thought it was obvious, and then I realized, oh no, wait, no, it's not obvious. I've just done a lot of random crochet stuff and stuff to do with yarn and what have you. So the fact that I know how to do all this stuff randomly is kind of a bad example. Here we go, come on. Where shall we start? We shall start the final, we'll start here, that corner stitch. There, and where are you? There, okay, that's good enough. Don't get that other yarn in the way. And this is very low tech, just to be clear. Literally just have a tail and just tie it in place with a knot. Like, there's nothing complicated here about actually getting started with whip stitching something. Like, no, we're not about that. We're just like, nah, fuck it, just do it any way that works. And let's see. Don't think I'm going to need to whip stitch every single stitch, just most of them. And we're going to be using the top of the crochet stitches in order to keep it consistent and line everything up correctly. And if it turns out that it's not quite what I want, then I'm sure I'll just be able to go over it again. Come on. Don't get stuck on stuff, please. Now, this is probably going to take quite a while. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. But it's got to be done. Like, don't get me wrong, it's actually so much easier to crochet as opposed to sew and talk at the same time. Everything else, I'm just like, oh, come on. It's like, it takes so much more concentration for some reason. And this isn't even anything complicated. This is literally just whip stitching shit together. Come on, like. Just watch. I will knock that over as soon as I forget myself. And you guys can go ahead and laugh your asses off at me. But you know, it's going to be okay. The important thing is that I'm being entertaining. Because that's what you really want to do. You want to be entertaining. At the very least, you should teach people, if not directly, then simply by being a horrible example of what not to do. No, this is fine. So this is part of the reason that I actually do whip stitching as opposed to just putting in the crochet seam. It's really just because the crochet seam tends to end up rather thick and chunky, and that can produce an effect that I'm not on board with. And like I did it on the top of the crochet cardigans, like on the cardigan sleeves or whatever. I decided to do a crochet seam, and I was not happy with the outcome. And depending on how much it annoys me, I may even go back and undo it, and just kind of do it again, just to kind of reduce the height of that seam. Now, the trade-off obviously is that a crocheted seam is going to be many, many, many times stronger than a whip stitch seam. And I know this from experience, because I ended up making a scarf out of yarn that I quite liked, and then when I ended up going back to actually, I decided I was going to frog it and just reuse that yarn for something else. And it was an infinity scarf, so the two edges were crocheted together. And like, don't get me wrong, you know, I did make it possible to be frogged, but it was what I can only describe as an utter pain in the bollocks. Because that seam is so much stronger than a whip stitch seam. Because if you're frogging something that has a whip stitch, all you're doing is basically just like pulling that, and it's like you're undoing any other kind of sewing. You crochet seam, and you've got to find every bloody stitch and yank it out. And if you're on a particular type of yarn that does not like to be frogged, because although the yarn doesn't judge, it can still be quite fucking opinionated. And that has issues written all over it. Okay, this is working. Now, I would say in my crafting career so far, I've been reasonably lucky that I haven't come across any yarn that is a significant, like, that is a very significantly opinionated. I have had to work one yarn that was quite literally a hate fibre that had no intentions of actually being worked into anything interesting, no matter what I did with it or how I tried to use it. It was absolutely opposed to whatever I was trying to do. And I've mentioned this particular yarn a few times on stream. I still haven't decided in what way I'm going to sacrifice it to the gods of yarn. But trust me on this, it is going to happen. Because that yarn needs to be put out of its misery. No one should have to work it. But I have to say, most of all, I've been doing quite well with the yarn. A lot of what I work is just, it's good, comfortable stuff. Or at least it's stuff that wants to be worked. It's like, even though it's not, it may not always be on board, but at least at least it's ready to go in a direction, even if it's not quite the same direction as what I have in mind. This particular yarn, this hair in my mouth, partly. Now, this particular yarn is practically the living, breathing embodiment of the 80s. And to be honest, I think it is actually from the 80s for what it's worth. And it's still in quite good condition, I have to say. And it works up quite nicely when you're agreeable with it and try not to put too much of a strain on it. And generally just kind of, you know, you have to be careful and polite and don't tear it around the place, because it is not going to get on board and it will split in a heartbeat if you treat it badly, as it should. So it's quite unforgiving. And I keep comparing it to an 80s businesswoman in a power suit with the big shoulder pads and the tall haircut. And I'm pretty sure that all of you know exactly what that looks like. Well, that is this yarn. It is the movie Working Girl with actress whose name I can never remember, and Harrison Ford. Anyway, just go look at that movie. That is basically this yarn, down to the colour and the weird hairiness. And Melanie Griffith, that's her name. Fuck, that's going to annoy you. That was going to just annoy the shit out of me. Just absolutely would. I'm bad with names, okay? I'm absolutely bad with names. And I'm especially bad with names when I'm trying to pull together this crap. So, honestly, although this, at the end of this, I'm pretty sure that this yarn is going to be, it's going to be very nice. It's going to be a wonderfully attractive piece of fibre art. It's going to be a lovely, warm, big, chunky cardigan. I'm still going to decide how way I'm going to actually extend the base of it. I'd say I'm probably going to do is just add some ribbing to it, and then see how I get on. Oh, hi, Daz. Good kitty. Try not to get hair on anything. Or if you do, at least warn me so I can break out the lint roller. How are you doing tonight? I hope you're having fun. We are trying to sew together this cardigan, and it's driving me nuts. Well, we're trying to sew together the hood for this cardigan. The cardigan itself has long since been put together. More hair on the thing. Okay, I'll go get the lint roller in a second. For God's sake, But you know, honestly, I can't really blame you. I have been helping a friend of mine move for about the last week, hence why my back has been rather screwed up. You know, I've been pushing myself a little bit too hard. Anyway, they have the most adorable chill beagle dog. And seriously, when I say that this dog is incredibly chill, I am absolutely not kidding. You know, very, very, very chill, placid dog. And who's very kind of happy and waggy and just loves coming over and just like, you know, just likes to hang out with you and just chill with you, and just really fantastic dog. Holy shit, the dog sheds everywhere. The back of my car is nothing but dog hair. Nothing but dog hair. You know, she's my best friend. You know, I do anything for her, but holy shit, I'm going to have to take several lint rollers out and do nothing but roll the dog hair out of my car. Just so much dog hair in several colours, because she's brown and white and a little bit of black and everything, because, you know, that's how beagles are. Like, seriously, so much dog hair. But it's like the dog was not even in there. She wasn't even in there once. It's just that, like, somehow by osmosis, moving all of their stuff, because she's moving across Vancouver, across the city, okay? Moving all of her stuff has resulted in dog hair just going everywhere. Like, it's honestly shocking. Like, I don't even know what to do at this point, other than, like, go to IKEA, buy the bumper packs of lint rollers, and then just, like, see where that takes us, kind of thing, and see how much of the dog hair I can get out of my seats. Oh my God. The yarn to be sacrificed could be given to a cat, just to make sure the yarn won't unravel and hurt the cat's intestines. Oh, no, we can't give this. We cannot give this yarn to a cat. We cannot give this yarn to any living animal. I am pretty sure they will not survive the experience. When I say that this yarn is a hate yarn, I am absolutely not kidding. This yarn is the kind of yarn where, like, even if you give it to a dog and tell them, hey, chew on this for as long as you want, just play with it or tear it about, I don't care, you know, like, they'll come in and their mouth will be bloody or something, because this yarn was just that kind of yarn. It just did not want to work. It made my hands hurt working that fucker. Like, never again. I have... See, I'm pretty sure that you guys can't, or maybe you can't see that, but I just pulled a dog hair off my cardigan, my desk. I have to hoover, or vacuum. Hoovering is an Irish term. I need to vacuum in here. Again, because like I said, dog hair, it accumulates by osmosis and it just kind of spreads. It spreads like glitter. You just find it everywhere after a while. Who knows? I got a big vacuum cleaner and a tiny nozzle yeah, it look like I'm definitely going to come up with something. I tell you, I ended up getting one of those big Dyson handheld stick whatchamacallits, and that thing has been an absolute godsend. And I've got a feeling that I'm just going to take it down and just like go over my entire car and then go out with the lint roller. And just like, then it's possible I will get enough fur out of my vehicle to make an entirely new dog. Like, I don't know yet. We should see. Alright, this is taking a while, but we're getting there. We're absolutely getting there. Sorry if this is kind of boring, unfortunately. This is just like, when you're doing this kind of stuff, it's just how it rolls. Oh, come on. Yeah. Yeah, see, I don't know if I can actually explain this. Like, the seam, when you do just a plain whip stitch, tends to be it tends to be very, very flat and very consistent. Just like that, you know. Like, especially if you do it stitch by stitch. I know it takes quite a long time to do, but it's absolutely worth doing. Which Dyson do you have? I have the stick one. I have no idea what it's called. It's the handheld one, but just... It's got a whole bunch of attachments that I don't use. And the reason I have it is because I have kids. I have kids in a very small apartment. There was no point having a big one. I did have other bigger Dysons in the past, but basically they were taking up too much space, so we just decided, you know what, we're just going to invest in one of the smaller ones, and so far it's worked out. It's been pretty good. The fact that it is wireless is probably the biggest thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not usually into the cordless vacuum cleaners and all that, and certainly the bagless ones I'm kind of indifferent to. But the fact that Dyson had something that had a reasonably good suction, and also you didn't have to have a wire hanging out the back, kind of made a big difference. I didn't know they had 9 different handheld ones. Honestly, I didn't either. March of technology, I tell you. I was actually wondering if I could literally just get a really old vacuum cleaner. Like the ones that were made back in the 50s. Pretty sure that like the ones that have basically no plastic in them at all. And if you get them, and if they're still working, chances are they're going to work forever. Because they didn't plan obsolescence back then. They just kind of made things that kept going. And I am very much of the opinion that if you're gonna have something that's like going to be consistently useful and needs to perform a very specific function well, then you might as well just see if you can buy it for life or something. And vacuum cleaners just don't, like, they don't seem that they last very well these days. And I did have a cheapy one for a while that was handheld, but it was very cheap and kind of rubbishy. And that's when we ended up getting the Dyson. So far that's worked out. Which reminds me, I need to go and check if Technology Connections actually has a video on vacuum cleaners. He might do. And if he does, I need to go and look it up. Because he is basically the last word on a lot of tech stuff. I don't know if you guys watch Technology Connections. It's a channel on YouTube. But dude is incredibly funny and incredibly knowledgeable about everything to do with technology. So, highly, highly recommend. And now we get to find out if I counted correctly in the start. I think I did. And if you do, you know, we're just gonna eyeball it. We'll just even it out. It's fine. I've done quite a number of infinity scarves, and every time I intend to end up with the wrong number of stitches, indicating that at some point when I was working rows back and forth, I either added or lost a stitch. And you know, I just kind of like, at this point, I'm just like, you know what, you can't stress about those things, because going back and trying to find out where you've done that for a start would be a pain in the ass. So you kind of just like, we'll just kind of squish stitches or expand in one edges and just kind of pull them together in such a way and just kind of hope that they come together in a way that isn't going to just fall apart. Like this is another thing that you kind of just can't stress too much about. Like, you just need to just let it be whatever it is. Like, maybe if you count the stitches or something next time and hope to God that you get it right. But I've found the scarves still look pretty good regardless of what mistakes I've made in the meantime. So I generally just let it be whatever it is and hope that nobody complains. Which they're not going to. Nobody will notice except the weird anal retentives like me. The cheap vacuum cleaners are shitty. I got a professional one. Ooh! Lasts me 10 years so far and I've abused it. Yeah, you know, I've heard that apparently Miele vacuum cleaners are like the final word in vacuum cleaners. The only problem is that they're stupid expensive. And they're also like not as small as a handheld Dyson. Which is neither here nor there, but space is a consideration when you live in a small house. Or small apartment, who am I kidding? It's a townhouse technically. I have my own front door, but it's teeny tiny. Because I live in a housing co-op. Yeah, good luck me. Managed to get into one of the few places in Vancouver that doesn't involve putting down a ridiculous down payment plus an absolutely astronomical mortgage. But I'm also someplace where I can't be rent evicted. Hey, Dead Chrome! I was looking for you last stream. I was going to say, I saw your, bugger, what was it? I saw the VOD of you playing, I want to say it's, Satisfactory? That game? Fuck, what the hell is the name of it? It was the one where you were on some, you were on some, like, it was on some, like, new planet or whatever like that, and you were planning, like, and you were essentially bopping around the place constantly trying to get attacked by beasts or something, I can't remember. Anyway, I watched it and I thought that was very entertaining. I was just kicking myself that I just somehow missed your stream. I don't know if you've streamed since then. I don't think I've seen notifications coming up. But I just want you to know, I did actually go back and watch your VOD. I hope you're having fun with the game. It looks pretty good. It's like, I was kind of expecting that maybe it would look a bit like, what's a Factorium or whatever like that. It'd be like 2.5D or something, but it's an actual serious like 3D game. It looks like a lot of fun. Oh, come on, get on with this. Yeah, there we go. So I was going to ask, like, you know, how did you find the stream? Is you just getting back into it or whatever like that? How did it go? Did you get a good reaction? Are people interested in the game? I know I am. I just need to keep an eye on my notifications now, and hopefully next time you go live, I will show up and hang out. Oh yeah, go on, Hollow. I'll talk to you whenever. Thanks for hanging out in the stream or whatever. I might catch you on Topher's stream if I spot you, but I'll definitely say hi. So go sleepy sleep. Take it easy, man. I'm going to turn that into a saying. I'm just going to say, yeah, go sleepy sleep. That's going to be like the thing that I say whenever I want to wish someone good night. Go sleepy sleep. Because what is life except to... I had to convince my dad to look at the cost per hour for a chair. He's been using a cheap office chairs and have been complaining for years. And he bought a 1K office chair and he's never been happier. Oh damn! You want to talk about this? You see this thing? You see this? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a steel case Leap, and that cost me, I think, what was it, like 1,000 to 1,200 Canadian dollars, and they were incredibly nice about it. They gave me all of this information about like how to adjust the chair, and even were prepared to send someone out to adjust the chair to me. And that was when my back was very severe, and I was like, okay, I need a new office chair, this is not working. So can absolutely recommend the very expensive office chair. If you feel that you need like something for ergonomics in a decent office chair, don't like be prepared to spend up for it, and also you will be happy you did. Trust me. It is life-changing, I would dare say. And yeah, like I to be honest, I've heard of people spending a lot more than that on their chairs, especially if you go and get like a Herman Miller Aeron or something like one of the other newer steel case Leaps. I just happened to get one, when they were essentially clearing out the last of the steel, whatever this current version of the steel case Leap is, I think, I'm not sure. But I'm very glad that I got it. Very highly recommended. Ergonomics for office workers is quite a thing, I'll tell you. Dechrome, I am just like, you don't want an honest answer to that question, right? This entire week has been a shit show. But you know, it's not been a bad week. It's just been somewhat stupid as a week, and I'm just glad I'm on stream now doing something useful. I'm absolutely fucking this up. Messed up the stitch count. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna go. It'll be fine. That is probably going to be miscounting, but you know, it's... You know what? I don't care enough to fix it, so fuck it. We're just going to continue and call it good. Whatever. Yeah. So yeah, Dead Crow, I don't know if you just... If your week hasn't been a shit show, has it even been a week? You know, that's true. Like, if my week has actually gone well, it's like, what the hell would I even tell you guys about? Hey, my week was good. Let's continue. Let's do some crochet. Yay! I have nothing to talk about. No, it's not, well, you know, I probably talk about something. I talk about a lot of crochet stuff, but no, it's been fine. No, look, I'm just, you know, it's a bit of a hyperbole, I have to say. Like, you know, my week wasn't bad. It could have been a whole lot worse. And, you know, only having one panic attack was actually pretty good for me, you know? Only having one panic attack and just only having generalized anxiety, which I can just about have been under control. So, you know, that's okay. You know, it's right, you know. Could have been worse. Could have been messy. Even more of a mess. But it was all right. Here we go. now we're going to finish it off by finishing this hood, which is the important thing. I'm kind of interested to just turn it inside out and then put it on my head, at which point you guys can laugh your asses off at me if you feel like it, and I'm just going to go, fuck you guys, I'm putting it on the cardigan anyway. It's going to be great. Oh wait, you know what, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be good. I'm just going to say, like, you know, we have to continue, we've committed to this direction, and we don't really care if it's a bad idea or not. We just know that, like, the direction is this way. And you have to kind of live with your bad decisions. You just got to kind of continue to the end. And maybe by the time you get to the end, it won't be such a bad decision. It'll just, you know, there'll be some kind of serendipity involved. Or at least that's what I'm hoping for, because, you know, what else am I going to do? Get an actual job? No. No, I'm kidding. I can't get an actual job. What am I kidding? All right. No, we can do this. We can do this. This is coming out kind of nice. It's going to be weird. It's going to be like a link hood, all right? It's going to be a point on the back of it, you know? And I'm sure if I took some effort to kind of do some shaping and all that, that it would look like, it would kind of like be nice and all this kind of thing. But I'm like, you know, I'm just not going to bother. Whatever. It's fine. It's on cost and you just got to leave it. No, yeah, I mean, something like that, you know? It's just, I spent the entire week either feeling like shit because my arm was in various states of not working, but the reason that it was like that was because I helped a friend of mine move all of her stuff halfway across Vancouver, and there was a lot of driving and a lot of kind of picking up heavy objects, right? Funnily enough, reason number one why I cannot hold down a regular job, I can't really lift anything. Because if I do, my left shoulder essentially kind of goes pop, and then that's the end of that, and I no longer have a functioning hand. And it takes several days for me to come back to normal, or at least to rest it, take a bunch of like just massively powerful painkillers, and eventually I'll be okay. But it is an issue. But anyway, I spent the whole week driving around the place, shuttling things around the place, and then lifting heavy objects and heavy furniture, and getting things to my bestie's new gaff, which just happens to be right above me. So it's been fun. So it just, like, and that's fun, like, in spite of the fact that occasionally my hand just stopped working. And then over the course of the whole week, I only had one panic attack. And, you know, just, it was fine. I kind of got out of it and just, you know, got the brain to stop freaking out, you know. It didn't like last very long. And like only having one a week is like a really good average for me, you know. It's usually more. So, like, I mean, I was like, for a while there, I was having nothing but constant anxiety for days, and such that I was essentially unable to function. So only having like one panic attack, it's all right, you know. I'm gonna take it. It's not much of a win, but you know, you gotta just go with it. Let's see, really good. Well, no, we still got a bunch to go, but at least we're getting here. It's just like I keep trying to say, it's like, you know, you gotta look for the silver lining. You gotta look on the bright side of stuff. Because even though it's been a fairly messy week, your bestie is now living right above you. And she's also huge into knitting. She knits and she spins yarn. And like she's remarkably knowledgeable specifically about knitting, because she has been doing it for literal years. Like far more than I do. I do a lot more crochet than she does. She has done fucking phenomenal amount of knitting, far more than I ever will, because that is just her jam, you know. And not only that, but she's worked for yarn shops. She knows a lot of knitwear designers and all this kind of thing. Like she has a remarkable like source of knowledge when it comes to all things fiber arts related, you know. And I really want to get her on stream, just so we can talk about fiber-related stuff, because anything she doesn't know about crochet, I probably know. Anything I don't know about knitting, she will know. And when it comes to things like different styles of clothing and like historical aspects of knitting and all this other kind of crap, and like things about like how yarn is spun, because she knows how to do it on a drop spindle and also has her own spinning wheel. And not only that, but she sold her other spinning wheel. She had 2 of them. And I'm not talking about like little spinning wheel. I'm talking about full-on Sleeping Beauty spinning. It's like spinning wheel, like the real deal, with the big wheel and everything. All right, from like the 1960s when she bought that. It was a hell of a thing. And she just basically decided to get rid of it because it was too big, and now she just has one spinning wheel, the smaller one. Spinning wheel stream. I've been going to try and convince her, seriously. I'm going to get her just like, here you go, come on, just get, the people want to see this stuff. They want to see people spin on camera. She's going to think I'm crazy, by the way. She's absolutely going to question my sanity, because she would probably not be able to understand, like, if someone wasn't planning on learning how to spin, why would you want to watch someone spin? And I just got to explain to her that, look, Twitch is weird and they'll watch you doing anything. And I don't know why, but this is not going to be the weirdest thing on stream. Like, it's just going to be like, people want to see. They want to see you do that thing, you know? But she's really good fun, and she's been all over the world. She's originally from Chile. She speaks Spanish. She lived in the UK for so long that she is now a British citizen. And she has lived in more countries than I can count, including like half a dozen different places in South America, as well as the UK and Mexico and the US and now Canada as well. And she is also obviously a filthy immigrant like myself. And so is her family. But she's decided that one way or another she's here for the long haul. So we have amazing discussions about what it means to be, essentially to be foreigners in Canada. And we are united by our love of the fibre arts. But I gotta get her on a stream. It's gonna be hilarious. It's like, I want to get a stream, right, where it's basically, it's gonna be me crocheting. You see my hands where I'm crocheting, and you see her knitting. Okay. And you can just like, and I'm hoping that it's just like, it'll be something like you can ask us like questions about what we're doing, and we'll just talk about like knitting or crocheting stuff, fibre arts, and what we're up to and everything. Because she is also a writer. And she has a degree in art history. So she can talk intelligently about all kinds of like art related subjects, as opposed to me, where although I can talk about the subjects, most of what comes out is crispy fried bullshit. She can actually talk about them from an actual academic standpoint. And she is absolutely fascinating to go shopping with, because she knows every consignment store in the greater Vancouver area, and knows where to find all the good stuff and all the antiques, and also identify all the good stuff and all the antiques. Okay, we're getting to the end of this now. This is going to be, I swear to God, we're going to get this good. We're going to get this hood done. I'm going to at least try it on along with the cardigan, and we'll decide whether or not it's going to be rubbish or not. Like, at the worst, I can frog the whole thing, and then we'll just come up with something else. I don't know. Like, it's going to be variable. You know, there's no guarantees here. You know, not everything is going to work, especially when it comes to the fibre arts. But like, we're just going to see what happens when we make this, when we throw this on. And for what it's worth, okay, I'm essentially making this hood based on, if I remember correctly, a picture I saw of a cardigan in crochet. So, like, if it turns out to be rubbish or I get something hilariously wrong, we will know why. It is because I am effectively half-assing it based on nothing more than some random picture I saw online about how you could conceivably put a hood onto a cardigan. And like, this is just the granny square thing, so this could end up making me look like a peasant from Legend of Zelda, which would be fairly hilarious when you think about it. But we're not going to know until we finish it, and I'm onto the last couple of stitches here, so let's just knock it out and see where it ends it. See where it takes us. Come on. Last few stitches. We're down to 5, I think. 5 stitches. We're going to get it done. It's going to be good. Like that, come on. And I'm going to go as far as the middle chain, I think. In the corner, all the corners of the granny square, I have 3 a set of 3 chain stitches. So I'm going to go to the middle chain stitch. Come on, last bit, last bit, last bit. Last bit. I want to go to bed. It's past 11. All right. Where are we? Is it the last one? Is it the last one? Yeah. Okay. Fuck it. We're just. You know what? We're just gonna call that the last one. I'm just like. Let's just pretend that I did it, counted correctly, and that is in fact the correct stitch to end on. We're just gonna, we're just gonna pretend that that's correct. Okay? It's like you guys didn't see anything. It's fine. It's fine. Automod held a message for a reason, but allow a post. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's weird. I'm sorry you had a shit read. I don't know why Automod pulled that off, but like, okay, that's fine, Automod, you do your thing, whatever. It's fine, Dechrome, it's just like, this is life, it happens. Okay, I'm not going to keep this, I'm not going to keep it, I'm not going to bother, I'm going to just stitch it across from the other side. Alright, okay, so, here we have it, and put that there for a second. So if we turn it inside out, all right, this is going to look demented. And I'm going to be kind of here for it. Okay. So that's there. We're just going to have to pretend that that isn't there. I'm just going to tuck it out of the way or something. There's a tail that I need to actually weave in, but whatever. So the hood is going to be like this. This is just going to be the stupidest looking thing I've ever created. Okay, alright, here's the... Hey, Sticks, how's it going? Alright, so here's the cardigan, okay? And what's going to happen is that this is essentially going to be attached here. And it's going to be pulled down quite a bit. And obviously it doesn't work like that. And there's the back of it. With that little... And then when it's actually pulled down, it's going to be like here. I'm absolutely aiming for Jedi robe territory once I actually stitch this thing together. It's going to be funny. Yeah, like the shimmer is something. This is the 80s power yarn, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know. Okay, I think I'm kind of okay with this. I'd really all I need to do is take this and just kind of weave in all the ends and then stitch it to the top here and see essentially where it shows up. The rest of the yarn, all of this that I've got, it is going to be woven onto the end of this. It's like I'm going to make 2 giant granny squares for the base of the cardigan. Most likely. Hang on. So if we just take it off. And down here. Now you can see at the back here, that is a whip stitch seam. And this one here is a crocheted seam, and that's the extra thick one on the inside, which I'm not happy about. But I'm just like, fuck, I'm not going to unpick it at this point. Let's just continue as we're going on. It's going to be whatever it is. But anyway, the base of this is, if I turn it upside down, like, it's basically this, okay? This is like the base of one giant granny square. So I basically need enough yarn to make a second one. And this thing is going to be long enough to reach my knees. Or at least that's close enough. We're aiming for that, right? But it does mean that I'm going to need 2 granny squares, and then it'll need to be, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So they got to be 28 rounds. 28 rounds, and I am really not sure that I have enough yarn to actually make them that big. I'm going to have to do one, and then eyeball whatever yarn I've got left and hope that I can do a second one. They need to be that big in order to get the correct width in order to do this. And if it turns out that I don't have enough yarn to complete 2 28 round granny squares, then we are officially in shit, and I can't use those. I will have to frog them completely and then start working. Essentially, I'll have to just start, well, I won't be able to work in the round. I'll have to go row by row. And that's going to be interesting because I cannot go round by round here. I've got to go back and forth along this edge. So part of this is going to be worked right-handed, and part of it, like the other rows going back, are going to be worked left-handed. I won't be able to get away from that. For some, oh hey Susan, how's it going? For some odd reason I got confused with your stream and another streamer. It's possible. there are like crochet Twitch is wild and varied. Oh, good times ahead, like you wouldn't believe. This is gonna be really interesting. It's like if I have enough yarn to actually finish the two 28 round squares, then we're great. I'll whip stitch them together and it'll be fine. If it's not the case, then we're up shit creek and I'm just gonna have to start working like left-handed and right-handed and then see how far I get. Who knows where I'm gonna end up? Yeah, I gotta go to bed. I'm sorry, guys. I'm knackered. It's been an entire week. It's been like this. Holy crap! I'll put that down there. Anyway, here's where we're at. Hopefully by next week I'll have a finished cardigan, and maybe I'll get onto another project. Who knows? I really want to just attempt the planetary alignment project. So we'll see where we are. So let's take a quick look and see if there's anybody who we can raid. I don't actually. It's gotten late now, so I don't know if anyone's going to be on. Let's see. Come on, Twitch. Twitch TV following. Who's on? Show me. Oh, I'm going to just say it again while I'm on stream. Yeah, sorry, Susan. I've been on since 9 o'clock PST. I usually only go for 2 hours. I'm going to be ending the stream because it's getting late for me and I really need to go to bed. But okay. I'm going to just do the event thing first. Event. Oh, come on. I'm so bad at getting this. Event. There we go. Yes, right. I'm doing that raid train thing. I'm going to be going at bullshit o'clock, but it'll be fun. So just go check that out, okay? And just check the timetable and take a look. Who's Solar Ren? Oh, okay. Let me take a look. I'm going to just see who's on. Who's on? Blah blah blah. Okay, we have Snoring Cat. Who's Solar Ren? Come on, Twitch. What's wrong with you? Oh, here we go. Solar Ren. Oh, hey, and they're Australia. Oh, handy. Oh, God, the ads. I hate the ads. Fuck off. Oh, she just... I was going to say Solar Ren. I was like, okay. Yeah, time zones. Oh, annoying. Okay. All right, so we will raid into her. I will be raiding and running, but I will follow her and see what she's up to. I'm always kind of like, cool, let's go, you know, enjoy other people. And the other thing as well is if she's consistently on, then I'll be able to raid into her because of the time that I finish at, and she's Australia, she'll be early morning. Okay, let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, wait, it's Lash Raid Solar Ren. I'll just check the name again. Solar Ren. Okay. Can we do this? Yeah. Hey. Okay. Thank you very much for hanging out, guys. Just she usually streams around this time. Yeah. Cool. I'll definitely raid into her now. Okay. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Let's go see what we can. Go see what we can see. I will be back next week, as I always am, and I'll be doing the Easter raid train event. So hopefully I'll see you guys for that as well. Okay, let's do this thing. Here's the button.